Near many cities, contamination of lakes and rivers from pollutants and rainwater runoff exceeds that from industrial discharge. Okay, so we're near many cities, and many means many things. We really don't know what that means. It's a very mild word. Contamination of lakes and rivers from pollution and rainwater runoff exceeds that from industrial discharge. So we're saying that the contamination in the lakes and rivers, the amount that comes from the pollutants and rainwater is actually more than the industrial discharge. As the runoff washes over buildings and pavements, so this is the rainwater that we're talking about. So as this rainwater washes over the buildings and pavements, it picks up oil and other pollutants. So it gathers more and it's taking it with it. Thus, water itself is among the biggest water polluters. That's funny. So what is our conclusion here, Ashley? Oh, you're on mute.
The last sentence.
Yes, water itself is the biggest water polluters. And we're saying that because it's better or bigger than the industrial discharge, and this is how it pollutes. The statement that contamination of lakes and rivers from pollutants and rainwater runoff exceeds that from industrial discharge plays which of the following roles in the argument? We're going to talk about role questions more in boot camp on Tuesday and in class on Friday, rules and reasoning questions. But how we go ahead and go about these is before we read our answer choices, go back and find where this sentence is. So we're talking about this sentence here. And ask yourself, what is the relationship between this sentence and our conclusion? And so this is why I'm so big on breaking down those parts of the argument as the beginning, so we can think about how is that sentence being used in regards to the conclusion. What would you predict, Kamani?
It's like definitely a premise, and I feel like it's like an example, maybe, or background.
I would say it's more, I don't think it's an example because it's just saying one's more than the other. So it's just I think it's just a premise.
Okay. But what specific premise? Because I never can get those right. Like what type of premise it is.
Why is it being, well, like premise, background, well, like background information or a fact. It doesn't matter what one here, because like we can't go back and just disprove that, right? They're just telling us that lakes are more than, this happens more than this.
Okay.
Where this is more like telling us like why it happens. But
so what's the second sentence?
As the runoff washes over buildings and pavements, I would just say it's more background information.
More background, okay.
Just a premise. All of those are premises.
Okay.
So then when we go to this answer choice, both groups said D, which is fabulous. It is a premise offered in support of the conclusion that water itself is among the biggest water polluters. That's exactly what Kamani predicted. And it seems easy when we do the work beforehand, but sometimes when we don't ask ourselves that, like, take 20 seconds and ask ourselves our opinion before we get to these answer choices, we get to the answer choices and they also, we're like, well, maybe it is evidence or maybe it is generalization.
Yeah, I was going to say that, Nicole, if you know your parts of your argument, like you don't even need to read the answer choices. It is a conclusion. No. It is evidence. No. Like, I'm not even reading it. Like, no.
I love it. And that's how we eventually get faster, right? So we have to slow down to get faster. All right, that is all I have for this class, at least.